Hi, and welcome to Manny's Makings. I thought I'd have a little fun today, and we would play with hearts. This is just something I was messing around with wire, again, like always, and I thought I'd show you how I do this. This is just a simple, I made elements, I made a heart, and then I made elements, and then I wire wove them on with a little bit of weaving on the sides here where necessary. So I just thought it would be fun to show you how I do this. No two will end up alike. This one is a couple of inches, let's see, total from top to bottom it's 1.5 inches, and it's about 1.5 inches wide total. So pretty cool. You can put a couple of jump rings here and hang it on a nice chain, or a pinch bail and hang a chain. You could hang a gemstone from here if you wished. A little tiny baby heart, you know, a stone heart or something. You could play with this and then put wire wrap beads in here now, and like have a field day. You could put them all on the outside, whatever you'd like. So I wanted to show you how to make this sort of finding, and from the finding you can get as creative as you'd like. Okay, so we're going to just play with 2 wires today. So we're going to play with the 18 gauge. In case I'm rubbing all this gauge stuff off, so I put it on in a big marker, and some 26 gauge. Okay, so you're going to need a ruler. You're going to need wire snips. You're going to need bent nose pliers for sure, and wire straighteners, and round nose pliers. And if you want, I'm using my big spike mandrel, or you can use bail making pliers, whatever you have. This is what I have. So, and I may or may not have to use this. So anyway, so let's get started. So my first piece I cut for this particular one was 8 inches. So I'm just going to take some wire, and you can see my wire's nice and kinky. Yay! And I'm just going to straighten out the wire. I never managed to get it perfectly straight. I watched those videos and of the people that have their wires perfectly straight when they start, and I'm like, how the heck do they do that? Anyways, so 8 inches is from here to here. So I've got 8 inches. So I'm just going to cut off 8 inches. Okay, so now I take my round nose pliers, because the first part I want to do is make this little loop at the top here, because this is actually, if you look, see if I can get this in closer, if it'll, there, focus. This loop is part of this outside wire, and the elements I made are the other pieces that are inside. This is actually part of the outside wire too, this bottom little section here. So let's do this. So round nose pliers. You can make that loop as big or as little as you want. Put it on your round nose pliers where you like. So again, this is one of those things. You be creative and do what you want to do. Now this is what I do, is I take it and I line them up. I'm trying to, let me zoom out just a smidge, because this is a little tight. There we go. So I'm trying to line them up so the ends are the same. So I'm just holding on to this here, and I'm trying to line the ends up. And if they're not exactly, I move them over a little bit till I get them lined up. So the idea is to get this in the middle and get these ends lined up. Okay? And then that sort of gives you your center point to try to bring this down a bit. Okay, there we go. Center point. So if it's off, like mine are, see they're off a little bit, you just take your pliers and you twist one way, whatever way you're off, and that becomes your middle. And then I take one side and go one way, and the other side go the other way. Ta-da! So we now have a bail, place to put your jump rings to make your bail, and I'm just flattening them together. And you have this, and you have equal amounts on either side, or approximately equal amounts. So now we got to make the heart shape. So you can do this with your thumb. I'm just pushing against my thumb and bringing this and sort of rounding it around. And I'm going to round the wire itself a little bit, because hearts, you can make them perfectly like square on the sides, but usually they're not. So, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So I just flipped it, and we're going to I'm just rounding it. And you can see this isn't even close, right? Look, it's not even close. I can bring it up. The wire's forgiving. Okay. So you figure out how big you want your heart to be. So let's make this one a little bit smaller than the last one. So I'm just bringing it in, trying to bring in the sides and make it equal. Just trying to make it, I'm actually thinking I'm going to get, oops, sorry about wiggling the camera there. I'm just going to grab my yellow pad. I'm thinking this might make it a little, obviously my camera is backed up right to my table, so it's banging every time I bang the table, which is not a good thing. There we go. Okay, so that might make it a little bit easier to see. So this is what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to make a heart. I need to decide how big I want it to be. And as you can see, the ends are approximately the same amount. We're going to measure them a little bit. So when I get it to where I like it, this may be a little harder here, and I'm happy that I feel like they're equal. I sort of hold it where I feel like if you're going to tie a knot, you know, you hold your finger on it, and I take a look and I go, is that exactly where I want it? How big do I want the heart? Oh, I want it about here. Okay, so I put my finger on it. Now, there's one side of this wire that's underneath and this side's over. So I take the one that's underneath while I'm holding this down firmly, and I take it and I push it straight up over top. Okay, and then I check and see it's pretty tight. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll give it a little bit of a squeeze. Just a little bit of a squeeze. Double check that everything's where it is, where I want it to be. Okay, and then I take this other side and I do the exact same thing. I'm pulling as tight as I can without moving my wire, and then whoop, and that happens all the time. It rolls over the top. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Okay, so this one ends up leaving a bigger loop. It always does. Okay, so I move this one out of the way a little bit. And I'm just squeezing the loop down. I don't want it to go all the way down, but I want it to go most of the way down. Okay, so that's a little tighter in there. So now I have this, right? So let's do a quick measurement. This is 2 3/4. This one is, sorry, 1 3/4 and 1 3/4. Blah. Yep, they're both the same length, so I'm good. Yay, I got it equal. So that's the start. So this is a place where you can sort of tweak and make sure you're happy with your heart. It looks good. If you're wanting to, you can pound the metal. Don't pound where the hanging is going to be, and don't pound down here, but you can pound the metal itself to make it stronger if you'd like. So now we just got to start making decorations. And in this case, I sort of did like a little Celtic point. Let's see, so what did I do there? So I took this side here, it doesn't matter which one you start with, and I brought it, made a little bend in it, right? Because I'm going to bring it this way. And this one I put underneath and made a little bend in it. So I'm just bending it with my finger, with side of my finger, whatever I can. You can use your pliers if you'd like. See? And I'm just making this bend over itself. So there's the first part. So now what do I want to do? Well, let's bring this down a bit, because I don't want that Celtic thing to be. So whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. And I can see, I don't know if you can see, but this side of my heart is a little lower than that side of my heart. So I'm going to push this in just a smidge, trying to make it the same height. Looks a little bit better. Not perfect, but it's close. Enough for me. So now you have all this wire to play with. What do you want to do with it? Well, you can do lots of things. Let's make a little point here that I can attach. So I'm going to make a loop, just like if I was going to make a wrap loop, where I'm taking the very end of my pliers and I'm bringing it around my pliers. And I'm changing my pliers in, and I'm bringing this extra piece of wire around the outside. And I just keep moving my pliers so that they're out of the way. So I end up with this little loop. See? So let's bend that down a little bit more, make it prettier. And I got a loop. Yay! Now I have to do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, that's always the hard part. Okay. So what I'm doing is thinking about, if I do the loop outwards, then it's going to be on the outside of the wire. If I do the loop inwards, it's going to be on the inside of the wire. So I'm going to turn this around and do the same thing. I'm bringing it around. And bringing it around. Bringing it around. Now, I always have harder time on the one side than I do the other. That's okay. And I'm just bringing this up. Okay, so they're obviously not the same. Can you see how different they are? So now I got to play with my pliers and this loop. Let's flatten this whole thing out. That would be a little easier so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm just bringing this wire around to follow this loop. I'm bringing this wire around. Oh, this one's tighter. Okay, that's probably why. I'm bringing the wire around to follow the loop, and then I'm pulling it back. Okay, I don't think this has enough give in here, so I'm just going to take it with my pliers and I'm going to twist a little bit more. I'm going to sit this up top, so helps if I have the unit the right way. Okay, so that little loop will sit on just on the edge and just to the outside of. And I need to do that with this one, so I'm just taking it and tweaking it, trying to make them look good, pushing and shoving and pulling to get them sort of the same. Okay, so now I have these two pieces of wire that are on the side of this heart that I need to do something with. So I'm thinking I need to curl them the other way. So I'm going to take the very tip this time of them. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Might be a bit better for you. So as I said, everyone turns out differently. Depends on how big you make it, how long your wire is to start with. And I'm just going to take the very tip, and I'm just making a little loop, like a, what do you call it, loop. So I just made a little tiny loop, see? And this one I'm going to do the same thing, so I'm going to go outwards, because this one went inwards, so this one's going to go outwards. And take the tip of my pliers. And I'm going to go round and around and round she goes. Make it match up. Okay, so I have these two loops, and I could leave them out to the outside like that, or I could bring them in like this. I actually like them better on the outside. So let's bring this back out to the outside. Let's bring this back in a little bit. So this is sitting on the wire, these ones, and this one's coming in just a bit. So just pushing it in. So there's my first section of elements. So now I need to come up with something to go up here, or something to come down here, whatever I'd like. So let me think. What would we like to do? A good size to play with. So this little segment from here to here was made with 2 inches. This little segment was made with 2.5 inches. This little loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop. And this little segment from here, from my thumbnail is to here, was 2 inches. So 2 inches is a good, let's play with this piece of wire. And 2 inches is nothing. You can use your scrap bin for this. I've used all my scrap bin in when I was doing some making chains. And if you haven't checked that out, check out the making chains video. Because a nice little figure 8 chain with this would look really darling. I'm thinking of sweethearts in your life, young ones that, you know, teenagers, it might be nice, or even your wife if she likes delicate stuff. So I'm going to cut this in square. You can't see me because I'm way out of. So I'm just cutting the tip square, getting rid of that little piece. Okay, 2 inches. Helps if I have the right side of the ruler. Put my thumb where the 2-inch mark is, give or take, and put my cutters so they cut flat. So I have a 2-inch piece. Now, if this ends up being on one side and I need something on the other side, I'm going to cut another 2-inch piece. So I'm going to take that tip off again, that pointy tip that I don't want, so that I'm starting off with a square edge. And I just got this little piece. There's the other little piece. These mats move around a lot. Now I know why I use my rubber one. So I got two little 2-inch pieces that I can play with now. Okay, so what do we want to do? We can... I'm thinking I need a spiral here that comes up and then goes out and then comes back. So I'm going to need one of those loops like this one in the middle here. And then I can bring that out and loop it in, and bring this one out and loop it in. Nah, that's not going to work, because that would look like that. So this is, and you could use a pen at this point. Stick this down on a piece of paper and twiddle, you know, doodle, and see what you think you'd like. Well, let's just start. And that's what I just do. I just start. All those of you afraid of doing wire work and trying this stuff, just do it. It's not that expensive. You can get yourself some artistic wire, and just go for it. So I'm going to make a loop on one end because that's my start. So that's that piece here. And I'm thinking I want this to come up and over. So I'm gonna take it like this and bend it. So I want this to come up and over. See how I'm trying to get it up and over? Okay, I think I need to make another loop right here. So I don't know how far that is in. A couple of centimeters. When I get into this, I'm a Canadian, so yeah, I'm looking at it about, I know you can't see this, sorry. So there's my loop that I've got now. So that's 1 centimeter, so actually about 3, 7 or 8 millimeters is where I'm going to put my pliers. And I'm going to bring it up and around. Hold on, but you don't want to have a death grip. I'm going to bring it around and make one of those little loop-de-loops. And I don't even know if I was on screen there. Sorry about that. I could put it this way. Yes. I like that. This way. So if I bring that around more, I have this going on. And then I just need to make another loop, this come out and then go back in. So I can sort of see, let's make this come out first. So I don't want it that sharp. So I'm just using my thumbnail. You can use your pliers too. It might be better for me to actually use my pliers. I'm just gently working this around. I want it to curve and not be so harsh coming out of there. I don't want it to be straight. I want it to match up more on the side of my heart. So I'm pushing with my thumb. Okay, I'm pretty good there. So I can see where that starts. So I'm going to stick my thumb there. Transfer it over. Transfer the measurement. So I need a loop that's on the end of this. That's pretty close, a little bit long. But I'm going to give it some bend, so I'm actually pretty good. So I want this loop to go which way? So that way. So I want this loop to go this way. So there's the rest of it. I'm putting it away from it. Okay, so I have the loop this way. Okay, so I have this here. That's way too long. So let's curl it in some more. Like starting a spiral, basically. And then push push this around. Let's see what we look like now. Okay, closer. So I'm feeling like this isn't curved enough right there at this edge right here, so I'm going to curve it some more. This is the easy part, figuring out the first one. The second one is repeating it. So that's what that looks like. I'm actually pretty good with it. I need to bring this end in just a little bit more. The spiral in just a little bit more. Because it's out a little bit too far. Oh, flat nose. Something flat anyways. Because I went too far out. Ah! There we go. And I want it to line up more like a actual spiral. Because I want that to sit right there, and I'm going to actually put them all sort of like that. Okay, let's do the exact same thing, because once we do the exact same thing, we flip it and it fits the other side. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so the first thing I did was make a loop to go this way. So let's make the loop. Did that. Okay, so I made the loop. Not as big. Oop, gotta make it bigger. Never be afraid of wire. Definitely didn't make it the same size, so let's make it bigger. Let's see if that's closer. Holy moly. There we go. Okay. And then I started to make it sort of go around like that. Remember? That little bring it around thing. It's a little bit harsh, so let's flatten it out a little bit more, not make it so harsh, the bend. See, it's still a little bit too harsh compared to the other one is. So we're going to bring it around till we make it happy. Close. Okay, so now I can sort of see where I need to make my round loop here. So I sort of need to make it right about here, which feels right about right. Let's double check the size of the loop. Okay, so it's at the end of my thick end of these pliers. You can actually go like this on top and stick it in so they're both at the same place, and then you know where it has to be. Okay. And I'm going to come around. And come around. And come around. Come around. Remember we did that? So let's see how we're doing. Ah, this is the scary part. You know what? If it's not right, we fix it. Loops are really easy to move. Now, you can't line them up perfectly because they have thickness to them. So that's first part here is pretty dang close. So I can see that I have to leave this part of the loop up, going up higher. So I'm going to put my pliers back in because I don't want my loop to get messed up. Let's put it in this way. And I'm going to open that loop a little bit more so that it comes up more. See, so now it's lining up a little bit better. So now I got to make it bend down this way. Now these are little baby steps at a time, right? Little baby steps at a time. So I'm sort of holding it with my thumb and bringing it against my thumb. Let's double check. Now, you can just do freeform and don't care if they match. You could just do loop. You could do a really long pieces here and just keep going with loops and loops and loops and loops and loops. So instead of 8 inches, you could start like say with 12 inches And I would have had enough to come around to the center here. And then I would have had to just secure it in a couple of places just so that it doesn't catch on anything. And you would have been done. Just making the match. Squeaking and tweaking. Okay, so I got to bring this around now. See, I'm bringing it around. Ta-da! Happy girl. Okay, so remember I took that end and I made a spiral with it. So let's do that. I'm going to do it away from myself because I do a better job when I go away than I do when I come towards. And you're going to start to learn that stuff about yourself, that you do better when you go one direction versus another direction. I did it again. Made the hole really small. So I'm bringing it against itself. One end of my pliers is slightly thinner than the other end of my pliers. See, I can stick it in that far on this end, and on the other end again get it in. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, so that's good. I can see that this twist here is just a little off, so I'm going to bring it around. Get up there. Okay, that's good. That's good. I need more curled up. See, I can get in the one end in, but I can get the other end in. Go figure. Making sure it's all staying inside. Okay, let's see if this is a bit better. Okay, these are fiddly because they're little. They're very little. This is a 2-inch piece of wire. This I'm now working on is like 1/4 of an inch. Okay, these are dang close. See? Not perfect, dang close. I'm happy with dang close. Okay, the only thing I would like to do is move this along this wire a bit. So to move a loop along a wire, if you want it to move, I want it to move down this wire, down this way. So I'm going to curl it towards the way I want it to move. And then I'm going to open this other side up the opposite way. And that just moved it just a smidge. Just double check. Flip this over. Bring that in a bit. That's really close. See? And that was just tweaking and playing. So now we get to put them here. So we have our heart. Wrong way. It goes this way. We put the one on the one side, see what it looks like. Put the other one on the other side. See what it looks like. And that's kind of cool, except it looks kind of like a square frame. That I'm not so crazy about. See how this sort of looks like it's square in the middle? I guess it depends on what you put inside it. If you put something else inside it. I have to think about this for a minute. What I want to do to make it look a little less square. So what can I do to make this look a little less square? I'm just moving my heart around because I can put it any way I want on the heart. I could put it this way on the heart if I wanted. See? And then you'd have a triangle inside, and I could actually bring this end in closer, like this. I'm going to just do it. Gunk. And that would go like that. And I like that a little better. So I'm just going to bring this one in too and go gunk. I'm just pushing in with my fingers. And that one goes this way now. I completely changed what I'm doing. Silly girl, flip it. Okie dokie. Way better. Except the heart's upside down and backwards. So let's put it the right way so you guys can actually see it. Sorry. Okay. Actually put it this way. Didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay. Where's my little wire thing? This helps you to place stuff so you can see how it's going to look. Right? So I can see I need to make them just a little bit squished in a little bit more. This one's actually probably okay, because I'm going to attach it here, right here. And I'm going to attach these two together here. And I'm going to attach this one probably here to the side and here to the side. So I have 1, 2, 3 places basically I'm going to be attaching. So now you can, once I get this around, you can see that it was important to get them closer, because once I get them in there, they're going to be closer. Okay, so this end has to come up just a smidge. Actually, it's right in here that's not tight enough. Okay, but that's what you do, you tweak it. All right, so let's teach you how to put on, for those of you who don't know, let's put on how you wire weave something on, elements or pieces you make. And I grabbed the wrong end again. One of these days I'm going to get this to stay out of my way, the right end on the. So I'm just taking a piece. I need about 18 inches, no, not even 12 inches maybe. So, you know, I just got a foot here. And I'm going to cut it off. So far we used 8 inches of wire here and 2 inches of wire of each one of these two. So that's 12 inches plus 12 inches of weaving wire. So I'm going to actually start it here where I need to fix it. Now I don't need to fix it down here because it's attached. It's part of the main thing. But I don't want this to catch. See, this would catch and go boink up. So what I tend to do is I actually just start it on the, I start it on here and I just bring it around several times. And I like 3 wraps, 4 if I can hide it. 3, 4. So, and I'm just squishing them in and bringing them right together. Okay? Because this moves. So it's much easier to do it up here where there's nothing there right now than it is to try to do it where it's moving. So, okay, so now I'm going to bring my wire up underneath and I'm going to put it through this hole. And then I'm going to bring this wire, look at that, brings it straight to it and hides it underneath. Isn't that lovely? And I'm going to go around once. So what I'm also doing, let me back out a bit so you can see. Oh, wrong way. Okay, one of the things I'm doing is I'm making this motion because the wire is going to come back in this way. So I'm going the way the wire is going to come back in. It helps it to not get as kinked up and messed up. And I'm doing this without being able to see very well, so just be patient with me. I can tell by the feel of it that it's not sitting in the right place. Now you can get caught up in the other wire, so you need to make sure you actually are putting it beside the other wire, not through it like you're going to make a knot with it. There we go. Okay, so as you see, it pulled really easily. And let's go back in. Okay, so there's my second one. So I did 2. Let's move this other stuff out of the way. 2 is good when you're attaching it out here. And then I'm going to bring it back up through, and this time I don't mind if it gets a little messed up because I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to go across this way now to attach the other one. And I have this little tail end. I'm just going to pull first with my pliers to make sure it's good and tight. Just pulling everything, make sure everything's good and tight, and then I'm going to nip it off. And where I want to nip it is on the inside. So I'm following that wire around, and I want to nip it on the inside. Don't catch the other wire that's there, please. This one here, because you'll have to start again. Okay, so I'm going this way now. So when I have my piece that I want to put on this way, I believe is how I decided I wanted to put it on, right? So I'm going to wire up this loop to this loop. and then this loop to the frame. So I'm coming this way this time, so I'm coming the other way, and I'm putting it through the other loop, if it'll be nice to me. Through the middle of the heart. Doesn't really matter at this point if it goes through the middle of the heart, but that's the easiest route. Okay, and I don't worry about tightening things down yet because I haven't actually completed the loop until I bring it back up. It's kind of like doing a stitch. I'm just stitching it in place. Now I am trying to bring this other wire back up though on the far side, because what I want the loops to do is just like when you're normally wire wrapping, I want them to sit beside each other. Let's see if I can show you this. I want them to sit beside each other. I don't want them to overlap like this. I don't want them to be behind each other. I want them to sit beside each other, okay? Let's get this out of the way so it stops trying to focus on it. Okay, so you have the two loops that went around there. And I have two loops that went around here, and I'm actually going to do a couple more. And I have to make sure that I keep them on there where I want them. I'm going to do one more, because this isn't finished loop, it's 1.5. Because I have to bring it down and back over. So you don't need a lot of heavy wire weaving on the top to get it to do what you want it to do. So now I'm just watching as I bring it in, that it's laying beside the other one, and I'm pulling tight. Okay, taking a look where everything is. Okay, so now I'm going to come out to the outside and start wrapping this around the outside. Remember I told you I was going to fix it to the outside. Now this time I'm going to do 2 loops, and then I'm going to do 3 more on the far side of it. Remember how we had started the other one? 2. Actually, I'm going to do 1 more. It doesn't feel that secure, so 1 more. 3, and pull. Try to keep my wire, see my wires nice and straight. I'm really protecting that wire as I go around. Now I'm going to go on the other side of that loop, and I'm going to do 1. I need to do minimum. Okay, my card filled up and I didn't realize it was that full, so I've been making several videos. So anyways, I finished wrapping around the 4 times. I actually went 4 times here, and I trimmed it off, and then I just moved this out of the way so I could start a new one. I wrapped 4 times on the new one here, so I'm getting ready to put this one on. So this one's coming from the top. Yep, so I'm going to bring it around and put it in the bottom here. And again, you're trying not to make a knot. So I'm pulling this tight, pushing that in where I want it underneath. It's almost underneath, so that the next wrap sort of lays right beside where these ones are. So they end up right beside each other. Do another one. I could tell this is being persnickety. So there's 1. So see how this fits in here too, between these two, between the circle and this other piece. I'm going to need to do that, wrap that as well. So 1, 2, I think 3 should probably do it, and then I'll move to the other one. Yep, 3's pretty good. And I'm going to put it in that little slot there. There we go. And then I'm going to wrap 1 there. And then I'm going to bring it around the outside here and do the 3 to 4 wraps, remember? And I'm pulling that up really tight into there so that they're sort of sitting right beside each other. And you can squeak them in with your thumbnails or your tools and bring them together so that they're, see if I can get that to focus. See how they're nice and tight together? So they're not big, they're not spread out really far. So that's 1, 2, 3, and I'll come to the inside and trim. So just like I was doing another one, and then I'm just trimming it right on the inside. So I just trimmed that off. So that piece is attached. Now we just need to get rid of that little tail, because that little tail is like hanging out. And I trim as I go, because sometimes I find it difficult to trim afterwards in this cases. So I want to get that right in there. I'm getting right in. I don't know if you can see, I'm getting right in. Instead of like flat with the other wire, I'm getting right in. I'm sort of digging the tips of my pliers in. And then trimming off the little piece. Okay. And then I don't feel anything on this side, which is really great because I don't want to feel anything on this side. Actually, I can feel something and I'm not sure what it is. Ah, that's actually that end. I didn't get it tight enough. There we go. It's gone now. Okay, so there's the one side. So now we just need to put it on the other side, and it's the same process. We're going to start here again. Start it wherever you like. One. Come on, get in there. Two. And this time I'm going to wrap the tail around so you can see. You can just take the tail and bring that around for the next one. And they're pretty far spread out. I'm just bringing them together, pulling it tight, taking this one, pulling it tight, and see, it gave a little bit, so they weren't really tight, so that's good. I'm glad I did that. So again, it's the same thing. And put it in. And it doesn't matter whether you go under first or over first. None of that makes any difference. I'm holding on to the tail. And in this case, it's coming over the wire, so I need to come... The only thing is I have to make sure it sits on top, like the other one did. So there's one. And I did two. And I'm just making sure that they're all laying beside each other so that they're not... There we go. Squeak that in underneath. Pull that tight. I'm happy with that. Okay. I'm just moving that little tail out of the way. So remember, we went back. I'm going to go back in. And I'm going to have to do this the opposite way. So it's going to look like it has 3 wraps on this side because I need to put this other one on. And remember, we attached the one to the other. So around here. Back down. And it's much easier when I have a shorter wire, as you can see. As the wire gets shorter and shorter and shorter, it's easier and easier and easier. Bring that back up. And back down. And come across and do this one on the side here. Come on, get in there. There's one. I did 2. And then I did 3 over here, remember? Whoops, I'm getting caught on that. 1, and I'm tucking everything in, bringing it all in close to each other. 1. Come on, get in. 2. 1 more. Come on. 3. So this time I'm going to bring it back around like this and then trim it off and tuck it. So I'm going to trim it off here. And then I'm going to tuck that in and rolling it around. Squeeze them together. And now I have to take this tail off. Again, it's the same thing. Pull it in tight. Bring your pliers up. Your nippers, I should say, up. And I was cutting off, like that little piece is like that big. So it's like really tiny. Okay, so now we have one last one to do, and we are finished this heart unless you want to decorate it. So I got to move this out of the way like I did last time to start the next one. I'm going to start it from the top, and I'm just grabbing as little as I can. I'm actually just putting it sort of over top of here so I have somewhere to lean it against with my thumb. Yeah, if I can get it to go. There we go. Because I want to hold it tight while I do this. 1, 2, get in there, 3, and then we got to come up underneath that other piece. So I'm going to swing that up. The wires are in the way here. My starter wire's in the way. Let's get it out of the way. There we go. Swing that around where it has to be, should be. Come up from underneath. I'm going to start with that one single loop area where it's beside it, because I'm going the opposite direction this time. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. I have trouble going this way more than I do this way because I'm right-handed. So, and then I did 3 wraps here. 1. Come on. 2. See if they're tucked in nice and tight. There we go. 1 more. 3. And so this time we're going to just come up into the heart itself and bring it around beside it. 1. Sorry about that. 2. 3. Tuck everything in tight. I'm going to bring this around one more time and cut it off on the inside. As I like to say, it's sort of the inside, but it's not really the inside, it's just up instead of down. And same with this one. It's coming this way. So this one I have to cut off, like, I'm cutting this one off like right here, as tight as I can. And I'm going to clip it and then bring it around nice and tight. Okay, and this 28 gauge is so easy to work with because it's so fine. So they don't match because I can see one squished more than the other one. So let's bring it around so it does match. Ta-da! And that's the nice thing about this, is that you can actually move it a little bit if you want. And I'm just pushing everything out so it's making the heart a little bit bowed, because I like my heart to have, this has, as you can see, has a curve in it. I like to have a little bit of curve in my hearts. And we are all done. So there's one. Whoops. What happened in the bottom? That's what happened. That's why it stuck out farther. There we go. Okay. So this one and this one, 2 different ones. This one's a little smaller, as you can see. But we just had fun, and as I said, I could decorate this. I think this one sort of is calling out for something here and here at least, and maybe a little bead here, and I would be really, really, really happy. This one needs something in these upper corners, and I'd be really, really happy, maybe a dangle. So these are your findings for making hearts, and great Valentine's Day gift. It's quick and easy. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like, share, and subscribe at the bottom. Really, really important. And take care from Annie's Makings. Until next time.